if you just hustle, that just drains you out of all the energy and not just take the pressure of targets, business deliverables, which will always be there.
Hi everyone and welcome to Wellness at Work India. I'm your host Jia and this is the space where we have honest, practical conversations about making work healthier, happier and more human. Today I'm joined by Abhishek Mehta, Senior Sales Manager and Team Leader for North and West India, looking at the cash management team. With over a decade of experience in banking, sales and team leadership, Abhishek has built high-performing teams while driving growth across India. Hi Abhishek.
Hi Jia, lovely to be here.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. So Abhishek, before we get into your story, how's life treating you these days and what's keeping you energized outside of work?
Well, mostly outside of my work, it's my small daughter. She's just 2 years old. And I have some passions, including sports and a little bit of music that keeps me going.
Okay.
So honestly, wellness isn't just out of work. It's just a fuel that takes you along.
So tell me, Abhishek, sales and banking are very high-pressure, target-driven worlds, right? So what have those environments taught you about protecting your mental health while delivering, great results which you have?
So honestly, Jia, pressure is always there. It's there. It's been there since the day one. But I mean, if you just hustle, that just drains you out of all the energy. So it's very important to take care of yourself and your team at the right junctures, so that you go along the journey in a healthy way and not just take the pressure of targets and business deliverables, which will always be there. In fact, just to narrate a small incident, I mean, when I started off work as a fresh management training, so I joined this company and this has been the only organization I've worked with. Luckily,
Wow.
more than a decade. So when I joined, I didn't even know how a check is passed, honestly. And after 12 years, I'm heading a product sales team, right? So you do learn along the journey. Give yourself time and patience. I think those are the biggest things that we don't allow ourselves, especially when we are young. We are in such a hurry to own the world, to beat everyone, to just show who we are.
To overachieve.
Yes. And I see that in my juniors, people who join the team now. I see that hunger, that drive, that ambition, but it needs to be channeled in the right way. And that's where a true leader or a, right mentor comes along for everyone.
Absolutely. So, like you'd mentioned, you grew a small team, right, into a high-performing unit and which now leads, across regions. So, what leadership habits, actually keep teams motivated and well beyond just hitting the targets according to you?
So honestly, I don't even tell my teams to worry about the target. I've never worried about the target myself when I was in an individual role, which was about 8-9 years of my career. After that, I came into a leadership role. I've always tried to maintain that environment which I wanted myself as an individual performer. However, that's not applicable to everyone. There are some people in the team who like to be micromanaged. They themselves tell that, we need more support. Ask us what we are doing day in, day out. And some people who are more mature, they would not want anything, they will say, I will come to you if I need you. So it's important to identify who's what in your team. Important to let them be, give them space, trust them till the trust is broken, in my opinion. Trust should be implicit. It should not be. I never broke my line manager's trust, so I just start off at that page, and when it's broken, we cross that bridge when it comes. So that's my mantra. Yes, across regions can be tough. So I did a stint in South India for 3 years. That was a wonderful experience.
Where were you?
I was in Chennai. So it was a mixed team, not just the local Tamil people, but we had people from across India. I mean, I was there from North. My boss was again from UP. We had a person from Mumbai. Then I had a couple of people from Hyderabad. So we had a good mix of people across India. We had somebody from Kolkata also. So across regions, we had people, and it was a good mix. However, the market was local. So that was always a challenge for everyone, including myself. But as a team, we made that environment that let's keep it positive. Let's celebrate the small victories, which is very important in a team environment. You should definitely be celebrating small victories to motivate the people. There should be a culture of learning between the teams, between the team members themselves. It's not that just the seniors have to teach the juniors. Sometimes even the new joinees or the people from different organizations, when they join you, they can get some big best practices. In fact, one of the biggest learnings right now for me from Gen Z people, like as they say, Gen Z.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so sorted as to what they want, and I don't blame them for that. We had a very different style of working when we joined work. I wouldn't say I was a workaholic myself. I had work boundaries as well, but I definitely was more available beyond working hours. But they draw a strict line as to when they are available and when they're not. And that's just a good habit in my opinion. And more than that, I think they care about the impact they are creating at work, rather than just doing a number or the sales or target or any organizational goal. See, mission statements are always there, they are okay. But to actually be driven by a larger impact is what drives the younger people. So as senior people in the team also, sometimes we forget learning. So that's very important. Yeah.
Very true. I think it's always good to continuously learn from any and everybody around you, because a lot of people have a lot of things to offer, and we just overlook it because of our seniority many times in organizations.
Absolutely, you're bang on target over there. I mean, I don't consider myself senior yet, although I am leading a couple of regions. It is a small team. We are 6-7 people across 2 regions. But while in the organization, I'm like middle management. But I think I need to keep this mindset throughout my career. If I think I'm senior, if I think I already know everything, and there are so many things that are happening, you can't know everything. Like even in banking, you've worked in banking yourself, so you would know. While the product proposition, etc., doesn't change that much, but we keep on improving it year by year so much that you need to keep yourself abreast. And even if your organization may or may not be doing market-leading things, you need to keep yourself abreast of what is happening across competition, across technology. AI is taking over everything. So it will impact banking as well. And even our customers for that matter. So a customer is, when he or she is coming to the banking app or the banking person, they will expect their, contact person to speak the same language that they are receiving from other service providers. Like, in fact, there was some research done that the expectation from customers now is that the way they get things at the click of a button, like in a Swiggy or a Zomato, or even a quick commerce like Blinkit, that's the way they want banking. Nobody has patience anymore to, get any document signed or anything.
That does have its flip side as well, because in banking, people are very, very particular about privacy issues, etc. And what you're saying, I completely get it. It can get frustrating for people when they're used to having things done and received very quickly. But banking does have its, it can't be as quick as the other things in life.
No, but that's the challenge. And in fact, a lot of fintechs and even banks are rising up to that challenge by making themselves tech friendly and making products that are closer to that. I wouldn't say match them at least, but closer to that, because it's a regulated industry. And in the end, you have to be sure, like you said, it's about privacy and trust.
Yeah.
People are trusting you with their money. And
Yeah.
even wherever you are yourself keeping your money or your assets, maybe a mutual fund, you would be you would want that there is a double verification, double authentication of the login, of the credentials of the organization. There are banks are rated like AAA rated, B, etc. The various rating agencies that do it. A lot of people who have huge sums of money do look at all these things, that the bank doesn't go under or something happens to the bank itself. So when people are trusting, they are accommodative to a certain limit, but in the end, you have to. You can't be very far away from other service peers, and not just banking, but other service industry peers. Yeah.
Correct. Right. So, revenue growth, we all know, is, celebrated in banking, right? And you've talked about sustainability, etc. Too. So, how can leaders make sure that growth doesn't come at the cost of people getting burnt out?
So, Jia, hustle is just another form of burnout. Eventually, you will be burnout, like I said earlier. I think that's where the true role of leader comes in. That you make sure that you know what is driving your people. It cannot be work all the time, for sure. Even if somebody shows it that way, even if work is very important to a lot of people, like their livelihood. Of course, everyone's livelihood does depend on it, but there are people who have loans and certain responsibilities for which they put everything at work. But I think that's not the case with the new generation. But let's say my generation, your generation, and definitely with our seniors as well. I think that's where the role of a senior leader or a leader comes in as a line manager. You need to know what is driving your people. For example, I am driven by my daughter, or I like to play cricket on the weekend. So that is something which I look forward to outside of work. Similarly, there is somebody in my team, who's a fitness enthusiast. They like to go to the gym. Somebody plays an instrument, and on Monday they will just come and tell us what they did over the weekend. So one is that you need to know what your team is driven by. Second, I think you need to celebrate the small victories, especially in sales and in a client-facing role. We can tend to get bogged down by targets which are generally annual in nature. They might be monthly in nature, but like after the month end, the next month starts, the clock starts again. But when are you celebrating it? When is your team getting a breather? So you need to create a positive momentum in the team. And this actually rubs off on the entire team then. It's not just about one or two people. If you are able to create that positive environment, targets take care of themselves, honestly. And this is not a humble brag or something, but it is actually true. I have had my fair share of highs and lows in my career, especially in sales. Whoever has done sales will know it cannot be high all the time. Sales is a cycle. A high is generally followed by a low, but it's how you keep on working through it and take care of yourself during this journey.
So, Abhishek, you've said all this very beautifully. Just question. You said that how you take care of yourself, right, in such a situation which is sometimes high and sometimes low, right? Would you like to share with the people who are watching this video about things that you personally do, which have helped you in such situations?
Yeah, especially when I was in an individual role, there were times when I didn't know what to do, and I have done the mistakes as well. I know what has worked for me also. The mistakes I did in the past was I did not seek help, or I sought help when it was too late. If I was not on the right path, I was not achieving my numbers, even if my line manager was not necessarily overtly putting pressure on me, but I was not able to do it. But I did not seek help, not from my colleagues, not from my seniors, or not from my line manager especially. I think that's the mistake we can do, the biggest mistake one can do as a young person. Definitely seek help. Second, I think whenever you are going through a rough patch or you are aware of it, it's important to keep working through it, especially in sales, because sales is a funnel, and I'm sure salespeople would know this. If you are outreaching 20, 30, 40 folks, of course, the filtration can be done as per the industry and all those things are there. And I'm sure people have ways to do that with data and AI right now. But the conversion will always be a factor of how many people you outreached. There are different ways to outreach, and just keep on working through it. People tend to forget that it's also a science. It's not just art. It's not that how persuasive you are or how it's about the right place at the right time also. So, in fact, one of my seniors actually gave me a very interesting quote, and this was not even related to banking. We had a team which represented our bank, and we were playing a tournament. And my batting came in the last over when the team needed 6 runs of the last ball. Yeah, something like that happened, and he just screamed at me from the boundary, Abhishek, bat ghumaoge tabhi chakka lagega. Like, I had only played 2 balls till then, and bat ghumaoge tabhi chakka lagega. So unless you keep on working, things will not happen, right? I didn't make the 6 on the last ball. It was too far-fetched. It would have been too perfect a story, but I took that learning into my career also. That unless you are, swinging your bat, how will you hit a 6?
Correct. So nicely put. Thank you for that. So, you were talking earlier about trust, right? And that trust is very important and is really everything. So, how do you see empathy and human connection becoming as important a strategy in, building long-term business success?
Absolutely, Jia. So, see, strategy is important. There has to be a mission statement or a values. There needs to be some values and a target statement that where you want to be in 1 year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time. But in the end, how you are collaborating it with your team as to how are you trusting, and not just your team, even your customers for that matter, because the customers are the biggest brand ambassadors for you. And banking is such a world where trust is everything. So for me, empathy is not just with the team, but with the customers also. Empathy, yes. As I said earlier, I gave examples of what drives your team. That is one. But in terms of customers, unless you empathize with them, products and services is one thing. You might have excellent digital products, excellent service. In fact, if I just put a baseline of products, probably every bank has the same line of products. But how are you able to communicate those to the customer? How are you able to tell them it will change your life, or even if it won't, how it will bring some value, right? And over and above that, you need to be real in front of customers, because mistakes will happen. Even as a service provider, there will be times when you have done a mistake, or even the customer has done a mistake. They would want something urgently. Then you need to gauge as to how you can help the customer, or how you can help your team in that particular moment. And it's how you react in these moments that stay with people. So when you're making this connection with people, they will definitely remember the bad times or the sad times if you were there, even if you couldn't do anything or you were just able to give some advice to them as to how you can rectify the situation. Because see, a lot of times what happens for us as a bank also is that they would either be a new organization or they would be shifting their banking from somewhere else. If they are shifting their banking, naturally they've had problems somewhere else. That's why they came to us. So at that point of time, if you are not empathizing with your customer and understanding what they need and then providing a solution, and rather than just blurting out a solution, they will never empathize with you. And while winning a mandate is a small thing, but actually your customer being your advocate is the biggest thing. They will themselves give you 3 more customers if you're able to deliver that.
Right. So, previously we also spoke about, the next generation, Gen Z, right? So, so if you are or have to, mentor the next generation in finance, so what's one mindset shift that you'd want them to carry forward?
So, the biggest mindset shift I would say is just don't think about short-term goals. Think about long-term goals. While wellness is important, your mental health is important, but don't be in a hurry to change the world or to change things or fix things. First, absorb. I think the first couple of years of your career, at least, you should be like a sponge and absorbing things as much as you can, because you might have some revolutionary ideas, but the real world doesn't work like that. While this may be a negative mindset, but you should be in the right place at the right time to make that impact. In the end, Gen Z is looking to make an impact, which is, I think, really a welcome change from the mindset of the existing staff and employees. And the future will be about impact. The customers themselves look at brands and organizations where they can connect with. And if your employees can connect with them in this way about the impact that the organization is making, while it may be something related to the environment or sustainability goals, or in the way how employees are being fairly treated, everyone would have heard probably every employee in NVIDIA is a millionaire right now. So honestly, they don't even need to work. If you've made millions in an organization, but majority of them are still there. They're working hard, right? So it's naturally not just about the money. Probably they are more focused on the impact that they are creating. So I think just be focused on the larger picture. Money will come. Your career aspirations will come. Everything has their time and place. While don't forget about them, but don't be in a hurry to move and change everything so quickly. That's the mistake I think a lot of people, even in my team, nobody's perfect. You can reward, and I have rewarded people, I have promoted them, I have done everything that they wanted, and even then they left. So it's sometimes it's just out of your hands, and you just have to raise your hands and say, I couldn't have done anything more. And these same employees have come back to me after 1 or 2 years that, yes, Abhishek, I did a mistake. You were right. And then you're like, I told you so, but everyone has their own journey, right? Everyone learns it that way. Even I did a lot of mistakes in my career, but the max you can do is help out your juniors and people who look up to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhishek, and thank you so much for joining us at Wellness at Work India. This was such a powerful, conversation on why leadership behavior is the biggest driver of burnout, like you mentioned, how empathy can transform, teams, and what the future looks like, of in a high performance, industry like banking. So if this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe, and pass it along to a friend, a colleague, or a family member who might benefit from this. This podcast is here to spark honest, practical conversations about wellness, leadership, and building more human workplaces. I'm Jia, and I'll see you in the next episode.